Hello, I'm Matt Difanis, 2016 Treasurer of the Illinois Realtors and also a contributor to this year's National Association of Realtors Legislative Live blog. So if you've been here in D.C. this week, you would see that Friday in particular is filled with caucuses all over the agenda. So what the heck is a caucus and why is it important? Well, a caucus is simply a gathering of all of the delegates from a given state or a region of the country. And it gives an opportunity for each state and each region to be able to pull together its delegation of Realtor members to report back on not only issues that are of interest specifically to that area of the country, but also to report back on the summary of what's been going on in all the committees. Because at the end of the week, we have a National Association of Realtors board meeting where the major decisions get made, but those decisions, those motions get voted on by nearly 800 directors in very short order. What you may not realize is months or even years of work and research and discussion and debate goes into all of those motions behind the scenes, and that work is cranked out at the committee level. So I'm going to take you on a whirlwind tour of what the Illinois caucus looks like so you have just a glimpse of the breadth of issues that your realtor peers are volunteering their time, their energy, and their expertise on to make sure they're protecting your business back home.
Okay, key issues from committees. And Kristen?
Making rural housing loans more efficient, streamline delivery of affordable rental housing, and all deposits over 1% must be sourced.
The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which has increased penalties that can be put against online service providers on copyright issues, and your MLS is an online service provider. So a change to Policy 7.85 will be voted on as far as adding the words that will allow your MLSs to mandate licensing of the information.
It has now been determined by the Department of Justice that public accommodation does also mean websites. And a public accommodation has an obligation to ensure that the content of its videos is accessible to every person with a disability in the public at large, not just individuals who are customers or potential customers.
Lead-based paint obviously was the most important. More regulations are necessary to protect pregnant women and children.
Cyber insurance. 75% of small businesses think that they are safe from a cyber attack. 20% of all attacks are with companies of less than 250 employees. And 60% of small businesses close after a cyber attack.
We've got agents, brokerages, who are taking the photos off of their solds. So when the appraiser goes in to do their appraisals, there are no interior photos for them to see. And it's part of what is affecting, I've brought it up to MRED, they're going to be talking about it. It's starting to affect the appraisals because the appraisers can't see what those comps look like.
They are releasing new rules that will lessen the requirements for the what's called the Section 333 waiver so that we could, in the real estate business, use the drones legally to video properties.
In 10 years, we've given out $1.4 million in grant money, and this year so far, we've given out $115,000 in grant money, and we want to give out more. So get your applications in. Okay.
Patent litigation reform still happening, trying to happen, probably nothing going to happen, unfortunately. Because
the EPA tried to revise the Clean Water Act by changing one of the rules about what is considered U.S. waters. And this started to take in everything that is any kind of body of water and regulate it. The act would require expensive, time-consuming federal permits to develop private property, not near most bodies of water, not just navigable waters.
Well, I mean, 1031 is clearly still a very high issue with us, and it's very high on our agenda. It's very high on Congress's hit list. Suggested that, listen, the best angle to attack on this is work the impact of it, the damage it does to the economy if that's not in place. He said, and what it does to jobs. He said,
But one of the things that everybody talked about is how Illinois has this program to have all the council generals to be like have an FPC for the council generals in all the different big cities, and everybody highlighted that idea came from Illinois, which we all know that came from Jim Kenney. And so I want to have a hand for Jim Kenney for, again, making Illinois look great.
Exactly. NAR strongly supports policy proposals to allow student loan borrowers to refinance into lower interest rates and to streamline income-based repayment programs. Additionally, NAR supports policy proposals that promote student loan simplification, clarity, and education. NAR also shall ensure that mortgage underwriting guidelines related to student loan debt are standardized and do not impair homeownership.
Yeah. As you all know, flood insurance, as I said, expires next year. We had a work group that met here in D.C. about 3 weeks ago, and on our agenda is more information as far as mitigation is concerned.
From the RPAC Participation Council, Tom Salomon's platform this year is to get all of the associations to participate in a phone-a-friend phone bank.
Winners, we had a focus group to talk about environmental impact on property values.
Tomorrow, the directors will be voting on a new formula for creating RPAC fundraising goals.
Beyond that, I would just encourage everyone to apply for placemaking grants and smart growth grants.
So the commercial world's been asking for advertising to promote the concept that NAR does commercial, and they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're doing that, which is terrific.
HUD came out with a prognostication that you're not allowed to use criminal backgrounds on a non-discriminatory basis anymore, because even though you were trying to be non-discriminatory, it was creating a disparate impact.
All of our commercial folks, we're at DEFCON 4 with this 1031.
So since 2012, NAR has sent out 85 billion, with a B, email messages to consumers, and 900,000 people have actually registered to say, we want information when there's a tax issue, when there's a mortgage interest deduction issue, when there's some kind of advocacy issue that's going to affect my right to live in my home. So there's 900,000 email addresses in NAR's little database. 250,000 of those are Illinois constituents. So we have close to 1/4 of all of that's in there, and a lot of that we got recognition because of our Real Property Alliance website.
I'm able to highlight that what NAR is all about from a commercial perspective, and Mr. Goodwin is hoping to host a group of the people in all the big commercial folks in Chicago, bringing Dale Stitton in and highlighting this is where the rubber hits the road, because we're in a crisis for 1031.
Republicans and Democrats all agree that something has to get done. Unfortunately, they don't have the stones to pass anything this year, and they said they're not going to pass anything this year.
And that concludes my report. Good luck to Flint.
And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Dan.
Anyhow, that's my report.
So, questions? All right.